The Celtics' next move has been revealed. With the NBA draft only 1 week away, the Boston Celtics have a lot of moves to make, and one move that is being talked about a lot as of recently is that they are interested in moving up in this year's NBA draft. So what does that mean for the Boston Celtics moving forward? And what does that look like in the NBA draft if they do end up moving up? What pieces are on the move, and what pieces do they end up bringing in? Well, we're going to cover all that in this video here on Celtics Digest. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video. I am Patrick Billings. Before we get into anything, guys, if you're loving all the content here over on Celtics Digest, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. A lot of you guys watch our videos and you're not subscribed. I mean, come on, if you love the videos, you might as well hit that subscribe button, hit that like button as well. We love seeing all you guys' comments and showing all the love down there and giving a lot of suggestions as well for all these prospects and a lot of your thoughts. We love seeing every single bit of those comments. And with that being said, guys, let's get right into the video. So the Celtics' next move has been revealed. Well, there's been a lot of talks about a couple of teams moving up in this year's NBA draft, and one of those teams is none other than the Boston Celtics. This is not something that the Boston Celtics have done a lot in the past, especially with Brad Stevens. We know that he loves to move back in the NBA draft. He loves to keep all Celtics fans up all night to watch the NBA draft, finally get to the first round right at the end there. We're looking at 30, and then he trades the pick off. It's like, well, thanks, Brad Stevens. I was excited to see who we're going to pick, but I know you love to stack up on those second-round picks. But this year, he's looking like he has a little bit of a change of mind, so he definitely has some players in mind that he loves. And if we look at this article here from Nesson, the Boston Celtics are expected to make moves this offseason in the wake of the falling short in the 2025 NBA playoffs. Their first opportunity to do so is coming up with the NBA draft. And it sounds like the C's are looking to make a big move, with the front office working on avoiding the second apron. Of course, a big two words that we have definitely learned a lot to know about as Boston Celtics fans. And since the league's new salary cap, Boston needs to revamp their roster this offseason. And an easy way to create financial flexibility is simply by drafting good players, as unearthing productive guys on cheap deals saves the teams millions of dollars. And I think that's pretty obvious there. If you draft a guy who is a little bit older, a senior or a grad student that's 22, 23 years old, and you're getting him on a nice rookie contract for 3 to 4 years, it's definitely a guy that you could definitely bring in and plug in quick, because he's got that veteran mentality and he's ready to play now. And I think that's what the Boston Celtics are definitely looking at to fill in with this roster, not knowing when Jayson Tatum's going to be back. Is he going to be back this season, mid-season? But all you need to know is that the Celtics want to keep winning, and I think that that is a vital piece to this Boston Celtics team, adding in a veteran college player. And we know that the Boston Celtics have definitely drafted well, as it states here, with Aaron Nesmith being picked number 14 in the NBA draft. We know that he's playing very well for those Indiana Pacers. And the Celtics have that 28 and 32 pick in this year's draft. Boston has some chips that they could use to move around on the board. According to a recent report, the Celtics have been active in their quest to trade up ahead of the draft. And here in a quote, the Boston Celtics, the Oklahoma City Thunder, and the Brooklyn Nets are among most active teams exploring the first-round trade-ups. Sources tell RG. Boston, of course, holds those 28 and 32 picks. But in Celtics fashion, they're being very discreet in its evaluation of the point guard prospects, which is something that we really haven't heard. A lot of you Celtics fans, as well as myself, definitely think that they need a little bit of a big on this roster, as it's a little bit of a weak spot. But if we think about a lot of things that are going on, guys, with this Boston Celtics team, they are going to look to trade Jrue Holiday. That is the feel around Boston, that Jrue Holiday is going to be on the move. There's a lot of teams looking to trade for Jrue Holiday. I mean, who wouldn't? Definitely one of the best perimeter defenders in the league, especially at the guard position. A lot of teams are definitely going to want Jrue Holiday, and that package will be a good package, and I believe that this would be one of the moves that they would make to move up, would be sending Jrue Holiday to one of these teams. And guard depth would end up getting just a little bit smaller, as of course Derrick White figures to be remaining in Boston, but Peyton Pritchard moving off to the bench into that starting lineup raises a lot of questions of who would be the next guard moving up. We have seen some J.D. Davison, but he hasn't shown too much promise when he does get moved up to the big leagues, as we would say. but I think the Celtics would definitely like to have a little bit more depth at that guard position, as they do a great job at keeping their cards close to their chest. But it looks like the first of what could be many moves in the horizon. And I mean, guys, I got a couple of players here, definitely some players that we have talked about in the past. And if we just take a little bit look at here, as I have a couple of players that have definitely worked out for the Boston Celtics, and one of them is none other than Cedric Coward, and I think that he is a very interesting prospect. I definitely talked very highly about Cedric Coward, as he can do a lot of things on the court. He's been rising up draft mocks, and he is a guy that those three teams that we named, the Boston Celtics, the Brooklyn Nets, and the Oklahoma City Thunder, are looking at to draft, because this guy is an absolute stud, especially on the defensive end. He has a long wingspan. He definitely brings some good height as well on the court. But even if he does get some overcommitment on defense, he's still able to make up the space that he's lost with his wingspan, because he gets right back to the play. He's pretty much, you give him 2 feet, he's still right there with you because his arms are so damn long. So I think that this is definitely a guy that the Boston Celtics are looking at, especially because they worked him out, and that's definitely a little bit of a tell. But just because they worked him out, it does not mean that they will draft him or they won't draft him, because there's guys that they haven't worked out that they could definitely have some interest in as well. We talked about Chaz Lanier, definitely Janai Broom. But if you look at the positions that the Celtics are coming in to work out, what stands out to you guys? Well, there's a lot of damn guards on that list, I'll tell you that. So clearly, if you didn't tell by this and what the article said, they're definitely looking at guards, and I don't think it's too discreet when you're looking at this list here. But the Celtics do need a big man, so that brings up the question of who they would definitely like to bring in. And I think one player is someone that Bruce liked to talk about, and that is none other than Danny Wolf. Danny Wolf is a very, very interesting prospect, because a lot of people say that he passes like Rajon Rondo, but he also has a really, really good height. He has a lot of good height, is what I'm trying to get at. He's standing about 7 foot tall, and he ran the pick and roll with Vlad Golden over at Michigan, which is very impressive that 2 7-footers can kind of get that connection and run the pick and roll at a very high level. His IQ is absolutely unbelievable, and I think that he'd be a great fit with the Boston Celtics, because they loved to run that double big lineup with Luke Cornett, Kristaps Porziņģis, and you could even throw Al Horford there, kind of being a little bit of a big, obviously on the smaller side. But Danny Wolf is definitely going to be one of the better passers on this team, especially as his size, trying to get a mismatch up top, moving a little bit quicker than the guys that are going to be guarding him. And I think that this is another great option for the Boston Celtics, because he is definitely moving up in the draft boards as well. I think him falling to 28 is a little bit out of the question at this point, now that we're a little bit, we're creeping up here on the NBA draft, guys. So a lot of things are moving around, but things are starting to kind of move into place as well. So I think that he is one of the guys that the Boston Celtics are looking at, but they did not work him out. But again, that does not mean anything at all, because Nick Clifford is another guy as well, who we thought right when March Madness was starting up that he would be there for the Celtics at 28, but now he's kind of fallen to the 16 to 22 range, and a lot of teams are kind of finding him to be a really good prospect, an older guy, can play at all 3 levels, a great defender, as he was Defensive Player of the Year in his conference over in Colorado State, and he can score the ball pretty well, scoring a decent amount of points this year, about 20 points per game, correct me if I'm wrong, but he is another great player that I think would fit well with the Boston Celtics. He could definitely play the 3, as he's a little bit taller to be a shooting guard, but I think if you could kind of get him in the small ball 3 and kind of keeping him as a combo guard a little bit, because he cannot play point guard, but him at the shooting guard position would definitely be fun to watch, and I think you kind of slide Jaylen Brown to that shooting guard and have him play that small forward. He could definitely be plugged in and played right away. And one more player I just want to touch on a little bit as well is one player that I was able to talk about, and that was Rasheer Fleming, someone who definitely needs to work on their jump shot, but his athleticism and his length are definitely something to look out for. I think that he could be the possibility to fall down to the Celtics at 28 between all 4 of these guys. But if the Celtics really like him and they have the feel that these teams are kind of going after him and want to trade up to kind of get in front of them to get this guy, I think that this is a guy that they would do it for, because he definitely fits the mold of what a Boston Celtics player is like. And guys, with that being said, thank you for watching the video. Drop down some comments below of what you think the Celtics are going to do. Obviously, if they're looking at a lot of guards, we saw the workout roster. A lot of guards. So who do you guys think that the Boston Celtics are looking at the guard position, and what do you think they really do come draft night? Do you really believe that they are going to move up in this year's NBA draft and kind of change up what they're really used to doing? I don't know. I can believe it. I think the Celtics want to win now, and I think this is the perfect opportunity to jump on that. And you never know what's going to happen next season with Jayson Tatum. So a lot of questions to be asked and a lot of questions to be answered as well. Thank you guys for watching the video. Make sure you like the video as well. And with that being said, guys, let's go Boston Celtics, and I'll see you in the next one.